Hi, darlings. Welcome to Narc Free Formula. My name's Freedom. Thank you for joining me. Slightly frustrated. I just recorded 20 minutes and then my internet dropped out and I lost the whole damn lot. So, take two on part one. All right, so in today's episode, I'm going to talk about what the Narc Free Formula actually is. So, how do you get yourself narc free for life without doing life? All right, this is part one. And the first point is that you need to physically leave them. A lot of women say, how can I deal with him? He does this, he does that. And this is the problem. You actually can't get away from the ill effects of a narcissist if you are still living with a narcissist. You might be able to do it for a little bit of time, but once you know that they are a narcissistic or psychopathic, sociopath or predator or manipulator, whatever you want to call them, that's probably your cue to leave. So get yourself physically away from them as quickly as possible. Then you need to cut all ties. So all ties and links, you need to tidy up any business that you have with them. So this is things like leases, mortgages. You might, have rental things, renting to buy, or leased property, leased equipment, car payments. All of that practical stuff needs to be taken care of. One of the reasons it's kind of so important to get this stuff done with a narcissist is if you don't, it allows them something to hoover you about. Okay, you've got to remember, they will always hoover whenever they're low on supply, whenever they need a little bit of, your particular brand of fuel, they will hoover you. And if you have any of this stuff unresolved, that will be the reason that they give for why they contacted you. So you don't want them to be contacting you, so you need to sort that stuff out ASAP. All right. And as for the sorting it out, there are actually apps that you can use or for communication for children and that kind of thing. And for communicating with the rest of the stuff, I'd suggest that you just actually go through a solicitor. Because no matter how you try and talk to a narcissist, it doesn't matter. They don't know fair, they don't know real, they don't know genuine. They just keep on with the games. Like they just keep on with the games. Most healthy people might, would just stop. They'd just stop with the bullshit. They'd just go, okay, she's figured me out. She knows what's up. I'm not going to keep trying, I'm not going to keep pushing or whatever. They would just sort it out. But with a narcissist, they will continue to do the same old narking things as they always do. Excuse me 1 second, guys. All right, just come back from the beach. Where are we? Okay. So get rid of their property and belongings. So anything that reminds you of them, whether it's theirs or yours, but if it reminds you of them, get rid of it. You don't need to be reminded. You've got enough stuff going on without little heart pangs or little, weak moments. You just don't need to do that to yourself. So things like their belongings, they often leave their belongings behind. There's two reasons that they do it. The main reason is that when they're not sure on the new supply, so when they're sure of the new supply, they make a big scene about leaving, and they'll grab all their belongings and, it's a big scene. When they're not sure how things are going to pan out, they are more likely to leave their belongings behind just in case, because, they're lazy. They literally will do the least, there's a saying, I can't think of what it is right now. They move through life taking the easiest route. That's just the way they are. It's in their nature. And it comes, with this kind of thing, it's just, part of what they do. They leave their stuff behind. If it doesn't work out with her, that's fine. They didn't have to move any furniture or anything. They just come back. If things do work out with her, it's good, because then they can still have something to hoover you about on the times when they need some extra supply, some extra fuel, your particular grade A supply. And I know about the property stuff because I had this exact same ridiculousness done to me. Unfortunately, I didn't have someone telling me about it. I wish to God that I'd known about narcissists before I found out I was married to one. Well, mine's actually a psychopath, but anyhow. All right. Move house if possible. So if you can, if moving is an option, take that option. Once again, it goes back to reminders. You don't need to be reminded of them. You don't need to think of them, from the second that you start your day. And if you can't move house, think about redecorating, moving your furniture around, do a spring clean, literally smudge it. Get yourself some wild sage or lavender or whatever it is that you like to use when you're smudging, and smoke it, smudge, do a smoking ceremony, cleanse the energy out from the house, rearrange all the furniture, get yourself some new sheets. If you can get rid of the bed, that's a really big one. Get rid of the bed. If you've been sleeping with him in the bed, if you've been having sex with him in the bed, you need to get rid of the bed. I got a new bed. That was one of the first things that I did. And I tell you what, I'm so grateful that I did, really. Because the thing is, whether or not you're aware of it, there are pheromones and hormones and scents, as in smells, scents that you may not actually pick up on consciously, but on a subconscious level, you will pick up on. So by having a fresh bed that doesn't have his smell and it doesn't have his hormones on it, whatever, makes it a lot easier to forget about him kind of sexually, I suppose, intimately. All right. Okay. Did I do the karmic bonds? No, that was the video before that I recorded and lost. All right, so you need to cut your soul ties, your karmic bonds. Some of you will believe in this stuff, some of you won't, but this is about, past life stuff. If you feel like I do, like I feel like I've done this before with him. I feel like I've done this before with him quite a few times. He felt very familiar to me, and narcs often do, because, they're mirroring back to you, they're performing, they're acting who you want, so maybe it was just that, or maybe we do actually have past lives together. I don't know, but it didn't hurt to do a ceremony. So for me, I did a cutting the cords ceremony, and I'm going to do another one because I feel like just recently I accidentally reinfected myself with some narcissism by communicating with him. So I'll also put a video up about exactly this, about good ritual to cut ties. So basically it's just cutting karmic ties, past life ties, and any kind of bonds that you may have, soul ties, karmic bonds that you may have with them. All right, and the last, second to last point is this. So plan ahead and have a strategy for hoovering, because narcs do hoover. That's just, a given. So you need to figure out what you can do if he turns up on your doorstep, what you can do if he starts emailing you, calling you. And the thing is, don't always assume that a hoover is going to be him trying to get you back or being nice. They hoover just as much through being abusive, or there's the kind of, in-between stuff where they contact you. Have you seen my red sweater? Have you found my spare car keys? I don't know. What's going on with little Johnny's schooling? Like, there's always something. The aim of the game for them is to get you to communicate with them, because they know how much you hate them, or they know how much, how badly you feel towards them and how much you want to get away from them, which is why they are so insistent on forcing you to actually have to communicate with them. So if there's any unresolved stuff, they will use that. If there's any belongings that they left over, they will use that. And with the belongings, actually, so don't just burn their stuff or anything like that. Do the right thing. Bundle it all up in boxes, send them a message, tell them where it's going to be, and then dump it. All right. I think I missed one here. I did. When you leave, you don't have to do it straight away, but it's important to do this, to figure out where you stand about things, because there are battles coming your way. Some of them are not important. Some of them are worth battling to death over. Okay, so you need to think about where you stand, like what's important to you, with the children in custody, with money and property, with other family members, if you have a family business, just think about, how important is your town to you? Maybe you could move towns. Think about this stuff now, because there's no point in kind of settling into a new routine with narc-free routine, and then to have to go and move 6 months later because he's making life unbearable for you. It's probably better to, while you're having total upheaval, to move interstate if you can. So consider all your options, figure out where you stand on them, on the important things, and get a kind of a plan in place. Because when you don't know and when you're unsure about what you're doing, it just leaves you vulnerable. Because then, they not only have they got that awful kind of sixth sense about where you're at and what's going on, but, they will use those opportunities to hoover you, and it usually comes around like this. Little Johnny tells me that you're thinking about moving. Do you want to talk about this? Do you think that's the fair thing to do to little Johnny? And before you know it, you're having a discussion with the narc who made your life a living hell about what's fair for the child. You don't want to have those conversations with him. It's not his choice anymore about what you do. And as for children, we all know that narcs just use them for manipulation, tools for manipulation anyhow, i.e. to eavesdrop on you, to find out and spy on you, to pass information back and forth, to always keep, one foot in the door with you. There's lots of reasons that narcs use their children. Lots of ways that narcs use their children, but none of which are like the rest of us. They don't just love their children like normal people do. All right, and on that note, plan ahead for the smear campaign, because it's coming. And it's probably already started. It probably started when you were still around, but you don't even realize that. He was probably telling anyone who would listen anytime your back was turned, telling them all about you and about how you're this and you're that. He probably would have projected most of his negative qualities onto you. So he'd probably be running around telling everyone that you're a liar and you're a cheat and all of that. So just be prepared, I suppose, because the narc knows your weak points just like you know theirs, but the thing is that the narc will go for your weak points. You probably have a little bit more self-esteem and you're more focused on doing your own thing, not necessarily trying to screw them over, because that life's going to do it anyhow, or that they're going to do it to themselves, more to the point. So, but the thing is, that's not how they think. The way they think is that, you have created a narc injury, you have betrayed them, and how dare you even think that you could live without them? That's the other thing that's raging through their mind. Like, after all, and the thing is, they were saying, after everything I did for you, that's the other thing. After everything I did for that woman, and she's gone and done this to me. So that, they've got that kind of raging going on. So that's what makes them smear you, they're angry, they want to hurt you. They want to hurt you, and they want you to know that it was them. So they will, like I said, they will, you know, contact the kids' school. I don't know. I'm not going to run a whole list here because knowing my luck, my narc will be watching these videos and taking little notes. I know that he does watch these videos sometimes. I wish he'd just go away and get a life. But yes, I'm not going to run through a list of what a narc could do to do damage. And I suppose just the same, us non-disordered folk can also cause damage if we want to. But you get the idea. So, you know, let your family know, let your friends know, let the people around you know, your boss, you know, the people that you think he's going to try and smear you to, let them know that, you know, that's what's going on, and that to be prepared, because if they're prepared, then it won't be such a shock for them when I don't know, nude photos of you get shown to your parents. That's one of the narc things that they love to do. You know, or just whatever they say, what will not have as much impact if it was preempted by you. Yes. All right, darlings. Listen, like I said, I've already recorded this once before, so I'm going to stop now. But this is part 1. There'll be part 2 in this series later on. If you've enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, and share widely would be appreciated. All right. Thank you, lovelies. Bye-bye.